All right, I'm gonna grab a tripod, shoot some video. Hopefully it can perform like I hope it will. Otherwise, we're gonna throw it over the river. That's not what you want to focus on.
Maybe let's move a little bit. Or
I'm gonna change the focus mode.
maybe single. But
Single point not working. Single point not working. I like the peaking on this so much better. Because you need it.
the stubborn. Not the wall. Yeah. Oh.
Sir, sounds like you're frustrated.
This one. Seriously.
I think it's the adapter. I hope so.
Do you have a baseball bat? Why?
Just wait for your C6 II. Maybe it will perform better.
Dude. It's completely focusing on the leaf. Look at this. The sad part is this is still better than Z7. Maybe you have to triple tap? All right, there we go. Background focus. When it gets it, it gets it.
Yeah.
Like that's how I have confidence. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
They just have to fix this. Like, oh, he's making eye contact.
Yes.
I don't know how. It's much better than Z7, but it's nowhere near the R5.
There you go.
I pressed the focus thing like 4 or 5 times and just suddenly it goes. I hope it's the adapter, some kind of connector or something. That's not right. All right, Brian's favorite feature of this camera is this flip out screen because like that, good, right? We can go down, all right, fine, limiting. But if you go out and then go like this, it's like, what is this? It's like, I don't get it. Like, sure, it can be useful in certain situations if you happen to be shooting vertical, but like, I don't understand, like, why? It's just silly. What I like about this camera as a Nikon shooter, it's got the feel like a normal Nikon. It feels great in my hand. Brian complained a little bit about some of the edges, but for me, it felt great. I'm used to the 850 and Z7, and it feels great. I was worried with a global shutter, with no mechanical shutter, that there'd be no tactile feedback when you take pictures, and I was worried about it, but I got used to it kind of quickly. So with the Z7 and the D850, I did not like the silent shooting modes, but with this, you can feel a slight feedback, and the sound is horrible, but just mute the sound. It flashes the edges, and I like it. So much better than I thought it would be, and I'm very happy with it. Also, I like to just machine gun it sometimes, and I don't have to worry about wearing out the shutter on this. So maybe I'll have, 20,000 photos at the end of the day to sift through. Yeah, so the Z9 is a flagship, but the price is actually quite comparable to like the R3 level, which is, I think, very good. Nikon's always been on the upper end. You look at the D5, and when it came out, it has like no video, garbage video, but still the price is competing with the other flagships, which wasn't really fair, I think. So finally, Nikon priced it at a reasonable level. You're not going to see too many amateurs that are stupid like me in buying it, but for a pro, I think it's a easy switching point because of the price point. So next, file size. Videos are just huge, so it's going to be very troublesome. But the good thing is that there's a lot of data there to finally edit. Z7, even with external, was not as good as like the R5 internally, but I'm very happy with the videos out of this. But what's even better are the photos. I can see more data than in the D850 or the Z7, but they're smaller. So the file size are like 25 megabytes per photo, which on the D850 and Z7 we're looking at 42, 45. So that's a huge decrease, and I don't see a loss of information. So that's very helpful that the file sizes are so much smaller. Now the autofocus. We're going to talk about this later too when we talk about some of the challenges, but it's really snappy. So when it gets the object and it sees it, recognizes it, it just goes. It has many different detect modes: animal, people, eye autofocus, cars, bird. I said animal, bird, airplane, a whole bunch of stuff that if it recognizes it, it just snaps on it, and it really does. It focuses really fast to the point where I'm actually kind of surprised how quickly it gets focused. I've taken a few pictures where I'm like, I probably didn't get it, and it actually got it. So it's quite impressive how fast it can talk to an older lens. And this is an old AFS. Yeah, the first generation 400 AFS. So it's surprising how fast it can actually work with the old lens and focus. All right, I'm not happy. All right, let's talk about what we don't like or what we want changed. And it's the video autofocus. So we have experienced the same problem over and over again. We brought the Atomos today so we can show you. Basically, just sometimes it doesn't want to focus on the object. Even when you tap on it, even when it puts a box around it, it just doesn't focus. So I'm not sure why. We can't tell you for sure if it's the FTZ or the software, although I haven't experienced it in photo, which makes me believe it's gotta be in the body. But I'm hoping it's something they can get fixed very soon, because I can't be the only one with this problem. Brian, who's the pro, hi Brian. Brian, who's the pro, even had the same problem. And so it's not just me, which was always a possibility. So yeah, the autofocus in video has to get fixed. Otherwise, you can't advertise this as a great video camera with such a big bug in it. Hopefully Nikon can fix this in the near future. It should be just a software fix, I'm assuming, and we can move on. All right, so the rest of the stuff, I'm gonna have to keep going to my list here. It's kind of nitpicking, but it's worth mentioning, I think. So it's heavy. So if you're not used to shooting a flagship, it's heavy. And when you compare it to the Z7 or even the D850, it's a little bit smaller than the D850, but it's got some meat to it. So I kind of like it. It feels great on big glass. When you put like the 14 to 30 on it or 24 to 70, you can definitely feel that's a little bit heavy. And if you have back issues, maybe after a few hours it'll start bothering you. When I shot with the 70-200, it started to hurt after, you know, a few hours. I scrolled out of the way. All right, so what else? USB transfer speeds are just slow. I'm not sure why. Connected to the computer, download a whole bunch of files, and it's just slow. It just kind of struggles. If you grab a group of 10 files, 16 files, it works fine. So if you're copying directly from the body to your computer, because you haven't bought one of those really expensive card readers yet, do it in smaller groups. Otherwise, it'll just sit there struggling for quite a while. The covers. So the covers on this are in groups. So for example, HDMI is also with the USB-C, or microphone is also with the Ethernet. And so I don't want to uncover the Ethernet just to plug in a microphone. Ethernet is obviously going to be much more vulnerable than a small, you know, 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch, I forget what it is, headphone jack. So I think that the way that this should have been made is that the covers were more separate. Again, kind of nitpicking. I'm sure that they designed it so it can handle a little bit of moisture, but it'd make me feel more confident if it was individually covered ports. In the coming months, Brian and I are going to put this through its paces. We'll try it out in many different situations. We have a studio session set up with a model. We also want to go out in the woods, really try it out, maybe some landscape. So we'll come out with some more content in the near future with this camera. Nikon's already said they're going to come out with a firmware update, which will give us 8K 60, which is like of no use for us, but we'll try it out. Why not? I don't even have a computer that can handle it. We'll put it through its paces. We'll share with you what we find out. So in summary, this is not going to bring over Canon and Sony shooters, but I think that some Nikon shooters who jumped ship a while ago because Nikon was so late to the mirrorless game, they might want to come back, especially if they have some old glass that they want to use. So, shut up. So I like it. I think a lot of Nikon shooters will really like it. It's covering a lot of the areas that Nikon has really struggled with in the past. And so I think Nikon shooters will be happy. Brian said he's not going to sell his R5 and move over yet. So, right, Brian? Yeah. He's not going to buy it. Good enough?